Have you ever pressed the power button on your computer only to be met with silence? No spinning fans, no blinking lights, just an eerie stillness? This frustrating experience usually indicates a problem with the motherboard, the central nervous system of your PC. Troubleshooting a non-starting motherboard can seem daunting, but fear not. With a systematic approach and a bit of patience, you can often pinpoint the culprit and breathe life back into your beloved machine. A motherboard issue can manifest in various ways. Maybe your computer starts up but fails to display anything on the screen. Perhaps you're greeted by a series of beeps, a desperate cry for help from your PC. Or in the worst-case scenario, your computer shows absolutely no signs of life. Whatever the symptom, the root cause often lies within the complex circuitry of your motherboard. Troubleshooting a motherboard is like solving a puzzle. You need to carefully examine each piece, test its functionality, and eliminate potential suspects until you uncover the root cause. This process involves checking power connections, inspecting components for damage, and delving into the BIOS settings. Don't worry, we'll guide you through each step of the way. This guide will equip you with the knowledge and confidence to troubleshoot your motherboard like a pro. So grab your toolkit, put on your detective hat, and let's unravel this motherboard mystery together. Before we dive into the nitty-gritty of motherboard troubleshooting, let's talk safety. Safety is paramount when dealing with computer hardware, and taking the right precautions can save you from potential hazards. Working with computer hardware involves dealing with electricity and sensitive components. These components are delicate and can be easily damaged if not handled properly. Taking a few precautions can prevent accidents and protect both you and your precious hardware. Safety glasses and gloves are essential to shield yourself from any unexpected incidents. First and foremost, always disconnect the power cord from your computer before touching any internal components. This is a critical step that should never be overlooked. This simple step eliminates the risk of electrical shock and prevents accidental short circuits. It ensures that you are working in a safe environment. Remember, safety always comes first. It's better to take a few extra minutes to ensure everything is safe than to rush and risk injury or damage. Next, grab an anti-static wrist strap. This small device can make a big difference in protecting your components. This handy device might seem like an unnecessary accessory, but it's crucial for protecting your components from electrostatic discharge, ESD. ESD can cause irreparable damage to your motherboard and other sensitive parts. ESD is the sudden flow of electricity between two objects, and it can wreak havoc on delicate electronic circuits. Even a small static shock can destroy critical components. By wearing an anti-static wrist strap and connecting it to a grounded surface like the metal chassis of your computer case, you create a safe path for static electricity to flow, protecting your components from harm. This simple step can save you from costly repairs. Lastly, find a clean, well-lit workspace. A tidy environment helps you stay organized and focused. A cluttered environment can lead to accidents and make it harder to keep track of screws and small components. Keeping your workspace clean ensures that you can find everything you need quickly and easily. Good lighting is essential for spotting subtle damage or loose connections. Proper illumination helps you see what you're doing and prevents mistakes. Remember, a well-organized workspace is a happy workspace. When everything is in its place, you can work more efficiently and effectively. By following these simple safety precautions, you can embark on your motherboard troubleshooting journey with peace of mind, knowing that both you and your hardware are well protected. Taking the time to prepare properly sets you up for success. Now let's get down to business. With safety measures in place, you're ready to tackle any motherboard issues that come your way. The first step in troubleshooting a non-starting motherboard is to ensure that the power supply unit, PSU, is functioning correctly. Without a properly working PSU, your computer won't receive the necessary power to operate. The PSU is the heart of your PC, supplying power to all the components. It converts the alternating current AC from your wall outlet into the direct current DC that your computer components need to function. If it fails, your entire system will grind to a halt. This can be incredibly frustrating, especially if you're in the middle of an important task or project. Begin by inspecting the power cord and connections. A loose or damaged power cord can prevent your PSU from receiving power. Make sure the power cord is securely plugged into both the wall outlet and the back of the PSU. Sometimes, a simple reconnection can solve the problem. Check for any frayed wires or loose connections. Damaged wires can cause power interruptions and potentially harm your components. Sometimes, the simplest solution is the right one. A quick visual inspection can save you a lot of time and effort. Next, test the PSU using a multimeter. This tool will help you determine if your PSU is delivering the correct voltages to your components. A multimeter is a handy tool that measures voltage, current, and resistance. It's an essential piece of equipment for any PC technician or enthusiast. Set your multimeter to the voltage setting, usually denoted by a V, and connect the probes to the appropriate terminals on the PSU. This will allow you to measure the output voltages. Consult your PSU's documentation for the correct pinout. This will guide you on where to place the multimeter probes for accurate readings. You should get readings close to 12 volts, 5 volts, and 3.3 volts on the corresponding rails. These are the standard voltages required by most PC components. If the readings are significantly off or non-existent, your PSU might be faulty and need replacing. A faulty PSU can cause a range of issues, from random shutdowns to complete system failure. Replacing a PSU is a relatively straightforward process, but it's essential to choose a compatible and reliable replacement. Make sure the new PSU meets the power requirements of your system. Refer to your motherboard's documentation for the recommended wattage and form factor. This ensures that the new PSU will fit properly and provide adequate power. When installing the new PSU, ensure all connections are secure and properly seated. Loose connections can lead to power issues and potential damage to your components. By meticulously checking the power supply and its connections, you can eliminate one of the most common culprits behind a non-starting motherboard. This thorough approach can save you from unnecessary troubleshooting steps. If your PSU passes all the tests, it's time to move on to the next step and investigate other potential issues. This methodical process ensures that you address the root cause of the problem efficiently. Even if your power supply is working correctly, your motherboard might not be receiving power due to a faulty connection or a problem with the motherboard itself. This can be a frustrating issue, especially if you're unsure where to start troubleshooting. To check if your motherboard is getting power, we'll measure the standby voltage. This is a crucial step in diagnosing power issues. The standby voltage is a low voltage signal, usually 3.3 volts or 5 volts. It's always present on the motherboard, even when the computer is turned off. This voltage is essential for powering certain circuits and enabling the power button to function. This signal powers essential circuits and allows the power button to turn on the computer. Without it, your computer won't start. To measure the standby voltage, you'll need a multimeter. This tool is indispensable for any serious computer troubleshooting. Set your multimeter to the voltage setting, V. Make sure you're familiar with your multimeter's functions to avoid incorrect readings, and locate the standby voltage test point on your motherboard. These points are usually clearly marked. This test point is usually a pair of pins labeled STBY_PWR or similar. It's important to consult your motherboard's manual for the exact location. Consult your motherboard's manual for the exact location. The manual will provide detailed diagrams and instructions. Carefully touch the multimeter probes to the standby voltage test points. Ensure you have a steady hand to avoid shorting any components. You should get a reading close to 3.3 volts or 5 volts, depending on your motherboard. This confirms that the standby voltage is present. If the reading is significantly off or non-existent, it indicates a problem with the power delivery to the motherboard. This could be a sign of a deeper issue. It indicates a problem with the power delivery to the motherboard. This could be due to several factors. A missing or incorrect standby voltage could be due to a faulty power connector, a damaged motherboard, or even a short circuit somewhere on the board. Each of these issues requires a different approach to fix, or even a short circuit somewhere on the board. Short circuits can be particularly tricky to diagnose and fix. In some cases, resetting the CMOS battery, a small coin-shaped battery on the motherboard, can resolve power-related issues. This is a simple step that can sometimes solve the problem. If you're uncomfortable working with a multimeter or suspect a more serious issue with your motherboard, it's best to seek professional help. Working with electrical components can be dangerous if you're not experienced. or suspect a more serious issue with your motherboard, don't hesitate to call in a professional. They have the tools and expertise to handle complex issues. It's best to seek professional help. A qualified technician can diagnose the problem and recommend the best course of action. They can also ensure that your computer is safe to use. A qualified technician can diagnose the problem and recommend the best course of action. They can also perform repairs that might be beyond the scope of a typical user.